welcome back everyone, welcome back to another month, another edition of the Host Open 18, a monthly tournament for the Brazilian scene. Of course, host VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the Hoot Chats, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to something a little bit different. Again, the Host Open is a tournament that has been running for a very long time, and we have been approached quite often as well to cover it, to cast it, but we just haven't been able to line things up. We haven't been able to have the time to cover it, but that changes here and now. That changes here and now. We cast everything back. We cast everything. This is again a monthly tournament here for the Brazilian scene. We cover quite a bit of Brazilian StarCraft actually. When it comes to a month, this is StarCraft. When it comes to Code for Giants Cup, and now when it comes to the Host Open as well. So much love to Gustavo. Gustavo, of course, one of the people behind this event, did reach out, and of course we are more than happy to jump on in. Here we go. Now, of course, this is a replay cast. This event actually did occur last weekend. At the time, we were covering another event, so we weren't quite able to really focus our full attention on this. At the time, we were covering the Firegrow Cup. So Firegrow Cup over the weekend did take precedent, did take priority, I should say, and that means that we're going to be covering the Host Open here a couple of days later. Just under a week later, we're here with our Host Open. Let's go. Let us go. Again, featuring players like MasTeR, like Dorminhoco as well. We have our first series, we have our first matchup here. MasTeR, of course, and Dorminhoco. These two are going to be facing off in the upper bracket finals. This was a big double elimination bracket, 2-day event as well. It's crazy. 2 days, a lot of StarCraft, a lot of content. We're going to be catching up on the highlights here, going over the upper brackets, then the lower brackets, and then, of course, the grand finals as well. It's going to be a best of three PvZ. MasTeR, of course, is coming in as the strongest Protoss player in Latino America. Nowadays, Mute has been improving a lot. Mute, of course, is the Peruvian Protoss. He has been improving a lot. I would lean towards MasTeR for the time being, but I know that Mute has been slowly rising the ranks and catching up, and arguably comparable here with MasTeR. Likewise, on the side of Dorminhoco, I would say that Dorminhoco is the second best Zerg player in Brazil. I would say that Eric would be at the top, followed by Dorminhoco. Dorminhoco is the Portuguese or the Brazilian word for sleepy, so that is why in-game at times you would see him as sleepy, or I believe on Wikipedia they have him as sleepy. I did ask him about it. He said he prefers Dorminhoco. One day maybe we'll change it. One day maybe we'll be able to fix that up on Wikipedia. But regardless, Dorminhoco is going to be facing off here in that Zerg versus Protoss. Let's go. Let's go. Game 1 is going to be on ley lines. Meanwhile, just catching up with the chat. Shout out to Turbo Quacker. God, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Turbo Quacker. Oh, shout out to Turbo Quacker showing up. I see Getia in the chat as well. Bienvenidos. I saw Werehog as well, claiming that first Quacker. Oink. Este Werehog. Look, at least you weren't barking. Like, I don't. God damn it, baby. God damn it. Aye. Well, regardless, we're jumping into our first series this morning. In the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Exdemius Gaming. It is Dorminhoco. We're in game acordado. Let us go. For those who are curious, acordado does actually translate to awake. to being awake. It's just a play on words here, just because his actual ID is being asleep. So let me just quickly fix that up for you and get that going. Hold on, I got you covered. Bam. And also, as we get into our first series, as we get into our first matchup, a big shout to Bomioja in the chat. Thank you so much. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time. And welcome, one and all, to our first match of the broadcast. Welcome to the Host Open number 18. Let's go. Let's go. For now, Hatch, Gas, Pool, standard opener out of our Zerg player. Likewise, MasTeR going for a gate expand into Cybercore. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Standard openers for the time being. We'll see how things divert in the mid game. I know that Dorminhoco, he is more of an aggressive Zerg player in the mid game, willing to go for 2 base all-ins, 3 base all-ins, willing to be a little bit more aggressive in this matchup. That is what I expect coming into the mid game, but we'll keep an eye on our players. Keep an eye on them. Oh. But again, shout out to Bomioja. Hold on. /shout out. Bomioja. Beautiful. We got you. So now we are setting up. Likewise, MasTeR back at home, soon to be throwing down his tech of choice. MasTeR, he doesn't really want to deviate too much. More often than not, at MasTeR, he would go for standard openers, Stargate play into Oracle, into a third base, into the mid game, into a later game as well, if he can get there. MasTeR, more of a standard player here in this matchup. Don't really expect too much deviation into like Twilight Council Glaives or Twilight Council into Blink or Stargate into Sky Toss. That's typically not how MasTeR does approach things. Speaking of, there's that Stargate on the way. And again, we're leading towards an Oracle-based opener into a third. Meanwhile, first probe gets across the map, getting a read on what's going on. A third base now going to be taken here from Dorminhoco. He's going to take his third without much issue. Unfortunately, Dorminhoco, he hasn't really been one too enamored with Eric's opener and style in PvZ. Smurge, baby, smurge. But we'll get there. Also, I do have confirmation, right, I should have opened with this, that we do have an offline event happening soon, TM, in Brazil. They have of course organized a venue. They have agreed to the terms of, you know, the venue itself, the time, the date, all is set in stone, and that is going to be coming up later on in the year. Later on in the year, there is going to be a big offline event in Brazil, and of course, we're going to be there, not in person, but we're going to be there to cover it here on our channel in English. As always, Papi is always there for the Brazilian scene, and I'm looking forward to it. I know that they were able to crowdfund enough money to pay for travels, to pay for, I should say, not necessarily accommodation, but for travel costs, just because, as you can imagine, Brazil is a pretty massive country, and their player base is spread out pretty widely amongst the country itself, so they're going to be able to pay for train tickets and get players from one end to the other and get everyone involved. And yeah, I look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. The best of the best in Brazil will be there, and it's going to be on our players like MasTeR, like Dorminhoco, and everyone else involved in this tournament to be in peak condition for that offline event. Let's go. Meanwhile, we do have a link flood. Link flood moves out. The Oracle does come across this. We do see MasTeR responding, which means this third base should be fine. The Stalker is going to be less than ideal, and the leagues, they do dive on top of the Stalker, but with the help of the Oracle, the Stalker will survive. Stalker does survive. Likewise, Adept shades back across, does fully roll off. Adept should be safe and sound, and so far MasTeR defends well. Likewise, behind this, Stargate opener into Oracle into what? We're actually going to be delaying and skipping the second and third Oracle. Okay, so no additional Oracle production into a faster Twilight Council. Robo, I don't see a Forge. This is looking a little bit more committed here from MasTeR. Yeah, early model production. Okay, models are building up early on. Safety sentries. This is not a standard follow-up. We would often typically see a prioritization of Blink into Forge, into +1, into the mid-game, followed by any further tech, but this is going to be Charge instead. I mean, seeing the Robo and seeing the Gateway Explosion this early on here is a bit of a tell that something is wrong, but alas, our Zerg player here still only has a piece of the puzzle. But this is going to be more aggressive here for MasTeR. It's going to be more aggressive. It is going to be a charge timing. Again, the lack of Forge tells us that we don't really have a lot of longevity, or don't have anything planned later on in this game. There's less longevity in this build. There's no upgrades, no +1. The Temple Archives is on the way. I believe this is lined up to morph in Archons just in time for charge. So you can warp in those High Templar, morph in those Archons, and commit. Forge is on the way. Okay, a later Forge here. Interesting. So this later Forge is giving, at least me, mixed signals. So we'll see if MasTeR commits to a move out, or if he slowly expands and gets a fourth base, slowly gets into his Archons, into +1. Gateways are being thrown down, but we'll see if he makes use of it. We'll see if he actually warps in, or if he skips his warpings. That's a lot of gates. That's a lot of gates on the way. Going to be an 8-gate setup here from Dorminhoco, starting with MasTeR. Dorminhoco back at home is playing Roach, getting his Roach speed, +1 range, joining up, saturating his third base, soon getting his fourth base for Larva. Decent economic setup. Decent. Phoenix Open, okay. This is actually how MasTeR plays against Eric, if you recall. Storm is being researched. It looks like MasTeR is going to take a fourth base. But if you recall, Eric is very fond of going for Spire. He's very fond of going for Spire play. So very often MasTeR would open Oracle into Phoenix just to have a blind Phoenix ready for that sort of thing, and just to be ready for any kind of crazy Muta switch. So this is an adaptation that MasTeR has done for Eric, at least. Interesting that he's doing it here against Dorminhoco as well. He's not going to be making any more. Just having that piece of support. Likewise, Dorminhoco, I don't see a fourth base yet, so we're going to be lacking production here. Typically, even if we're going to be cutting worker production at 3 base saturation, it is wise to get a fourth base, even just for larva. So this is going to slow Dorminhoco down. As he's still building up, still has not droned up any further. And does hold the fourth. He confirms the fourth base. Now, this fourth base from MasTeR is a little bit later. Remember, he went up to 8 gates and he went towards Storm and Forge and went for all this tech before expanding and getting a fourth. So this fourth base is late, but this army is very robust. It almost looks like MasTeR was expecting aggression out of his opponents and it never really came. I mean, it's on the way now, but at this point it's too late. Storm is done. Storm is done. The immortal count is very high. It's very healthy. Archons as well. We have Dorminhoco moving in, but I'm not so sure he can get much done here. And Storm pops off. At the same time, Zelramite does hit the fourth base. The fourth base is going to be denied. Again, the fourth base was delayed here for the Zerg. Another Storm popping off. Nice force. Oh, sorry, nice stasis trap. Herald's moving into spread creep. They're going to be shut down. MasTeR, he will defend. That fourth base was killed. Cancelled. Fourth base was cancelled. Dorminhoco trying to move in. As they'll say, break down the fourth base, they sip into the mineral line. Dorminhoco's supply block, he just lost all those overlords. Oof. Yeah, rough supply block here for the Zerg. No overlords on the way. There we go, 5 overlords now in production. And this does drag him back home, and this is just giving the Protoss more time. And now we're in a really rough game state for the Zerg player, because what's happening, well, our Zerg player here is down on bases. He's on a 3-base saturated economy here. 4th base is now on the way. Meanwhile, the 4th base is done for MasTeR. MasTeR, he has 90 probes. He has a booming economy. He's getting a large army, getting a 5th expansion, which is going to be denied at least. But MasTeR doesn't even need a 5th base. Ooh, that's a kill. That's a kill, not a cancel. Likewise, almost overextends. MasTeR, he's going to be careful not to be too wasteful. MasTeR, he can afford to throw away some bases, that is true, but still has to be careful nonetheless. Doesn't want to throw away too much. Stargate's on the way. As we mentioned at the start of the game, MasTeR is willing to take up into Skytos, into the late game. And MasTeR has been pretty defensive this entire game. Despite the opener, and despite the faster charge and faster immortals, he's staying at home. He's staying on his side of the map. And so far, he is overwhelmed. He's overwhelming Dorminhoco. Dorminhoco, he's feeling desperate to get some kind of damage. Behind this, taking up into Hydras, Lurkers, Hive Tech. But this does feel late. Feels late for Dorminhoco. Ooh, brutal storm on the Ravagers. Storms. Oh my god, another storm. Oh, the Ravagers are going to be going down. Brutal pickoffs. Dorminhoco, he will lose everything here. Tries to move forward, but lastly, Roach Ravager melts. GG gets called, and MasTeR, he will take game number 1. Whew. GG. MasTeR, he will take a lead in this series. Again, a solid game. I assumed that he was going to be a little bit more aggressive, but no, MasTeR, he was pretty defensive, pretty passive. He did delay his economy as a result. His 4th base was late, but it was worth it because, hey, Dorminhoco, his 4th base was also late as well. He had cut workers earlier on. He was trying to be somewhat aggressive, but it feels like he missed his timing. He missed his timing. He missed that window, and MasTeR did snowball out of control. With that, we're now getting into game number 2. Let's go. Getting into game 2, we'll see if Dorminhoco can bounce back as we load into Crossline. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Crossline, we have our blue Protoss player leading the series 1-0 from the land of Brazil. It is MasTeR. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg player representing Eximius Gaming. It is Dorminhoco. Whack or that. Let's go. far down in the series. We'll see if we can bounce back. We are loading into a larger map, true. The rush distance by ground is longer here on Frostline as opposed to ley lines. So we're going to be able to, you know, build up a greater economy potentially and get into a longer game state. Maybe go for a bit of a different approach here, or even something more aggressive. We'll see. Now, when it comes to Frostline, some of the big features here. One, the rush distance by ground is long. True, it is longer than that of ley lines, but at the same time the bases are more exposed. I'm referring to this third base here, the linear third base, or the triangular third base as well. Both bases are much more open. They have very wide ramps. They have a lot of space, a lot of area. Same on the right hand side, 2 ramps coming into the base. A much larger arc here is available for the aggressing player, so it is difficult to defend on this map. We have seen many a Protoss player try and fail to be defensive on Frostline. We'll see how they approach this. We do often see players like MaxPax and Hero try to make up for the less defendable bases with more stacked defense, throwing down like cannons and shield batteries and turtling up quite hard to make up for just how open these areas are. So we'll see if MasTeR does the same. Likewise, we'll see how Dorminhoco will change his approach. For now, settling in, getting into our opener. Natural base is done, and opening up with our queens, lings, and droning. So far, pretty standard, nothing crazy. Likewise, Frostline, outside of that, the bases are also very spread out. They're very isolated from each other, whether it's the 3rd, the 4th, even the 5th base, very spread out bases. Because of that, being the aggressor on this map allows you to kind of poke, prod, choose where to attack, and it can be quite difficult to keep up with army rotations, especially because we have this center area where you can go in between the bases as well. So that is where a player like Dorminhoco can try to pull MasTeR apart. I mean, it goes both ways, true. I'm making the assumption that Dorminhoco is going to have map control again, which is what he did have last game. He was the aggressor. Behind this is going to be a Stargate opener here by MasTeR. Will be that Stargate opener. And we do have our Link Scout coming in from Dorminhoco. Potentially getting a probe kill so far. Nice control. MasTeR pulls away. Saves the one probe. Set up across the map, forcing out all these spore crawlers. It does deal some damage, even getting a drone in the main. Oh, 2 drone kills in total. Can we get 3? We can. 3 drone kills, and we force out, what, 3 spore crawlers cancelled at the natural, even another spore crawler in the main. Ooh, Dorminhoco going for the main bust. He's taken a lot of damage. His decision to go for the bust, to go for the all-in. We have 16 lings on the way, and we'll see if he can break MasTeR here and now. Now, it is difficult to break a Protoss player with a Bane bust, specifically if they, or especially when they have a Stalker. Does it take 11 Banelings? Especially with the shield battery behind this, I think it's 11 Banelings to kill a Stalker. I've actually seen situations where, especially because of that shield battery, it's actually easier to break a gateway instead of the Stalker. But Stalkers are very robust. They're very robust. They're very tanky. It's not easy to break this position. Oracle dives in. We'll get a couple of drone kills. 2, 3 drones going down. Here come the Banelings. 7 Banelings so far. That is not enough. These pylons are going to be a weaker position here. Likewise, we do confirm lack of drones. So MasTeR, upon hitting that mineral line, he saw barely any workers at the natural. He knows something is wrong. Lings are filing in. Here come the Banelings. But there are force fields. Yeah, there are force fields here. Banelings they're going to be denied. Cybercore is getting surrounded. Looks like it's going to go down. There is another force field. Ooh. Never mind. The force field once again saves the Cybercore. Very well placed. Cybercore finally does fall. Lings are flooding in. But now we have more shield batteries. Shield batteries are finishing up one after the other. Another force field. There's no more lings. Sorry, I should say there's no more Banelings. Yeah, lings are being denied. Gateway can be saved. And MasTeR holds. MasTeR completely shuts us down. GG gets called. MasTeR, he will defend. And MasTeR will take the series 2-0. GG. Ooh, GG, well played, MasTeR. He will advance on to the grand finals. Dorminhoco, he is knocked down to the lower bracket finals. Again, it was just a really rough start for MasTeR. Upon losing 3 workers, upon being forced to, denied mining time, forced to cancel all those spore crawlers, did decide to go for the all-in. But again, it is very difficult to Banebust your opponent. Shout out to MasTeR though, because it wasn't a blind defense. Remember, MasTeR, he went for the Oracle Harass, he was able to cripple the economy. Not just that, he also did take note of the lack of workers. He saw how few drones there were at the natural, so he was able to confirm and piece together that it was going to be an all-in. Maybe we didn't exactly know it was going to be a Bane bust. Technically, there could have been like a Roach Warren in the main that was hidden. Regardless, he was walling up, walling off, shield batteries as well, force fields, and defending quite nicely. GG. GG, well played. MasTeR, he does defend, he does claim the first series, and that leads us into the lower bracket. Semifinals. Again, Dorminhoco is going to be waiting for the winner of this series. We're going to be jumping into a TVP, Kamikaze versus Allison. Let's go.